Oh my goodness, support is so incredibly vital in early days. Hey folks, it's Finn. Lovely to see you folks, and a very big welcome to anyone new. In today's video, I want to talk about addiction and addiction recovery and coping in early days. Now, all of my regular followers will know that I'm an addict in recovery. I entered recovery in 2010, and I entered recovery into Alcoholics Anonymous for help with my drinking, which was actually my main addiction. But actually, I've applied my recovery program to a number of different things that I had addiction issues with. So that was alcohol, cannabis, self-harm, eating issues, mostly under eating, but also binging and purging, and also have applied my recovery to overcome my anxiety and my low mood and find ways to manage around that. I don't do anything by half. So recently I've been asking you all to send me your questions, your comments and your ideas for vlogs and blogs, and I've had loads and loads of questions about addiction. So that's why I want to cover this today, and I've had a really amazing set of questions actually from a chap called Alf. One of the questions he asks me was about how did I manage in early days of recovery and how did I cope with cravings? Fantastic questions. So today I just want to share a couple of things with you which helped me in early days, and hopefully you'll be able to apply that to whatever it is you're struggling with. I think the two main things that helped me to cope in early days of recovery was support and taking it one day at a time. One day at a time is the only way to do anything. Now, support is so vital in recovery because when you stop a substance, or when you stop anything that's helping you cope on a daily basis, without it, what do? You need to find some support from elsewhere whilst you learn to manage this and develop support systems over time. So I always say to people, reach out. There are so many different support groups now for all types of addiction. There's online support, there's telephone support, there's face-to-face support. I will put some links below to some resources for you to look at, but it's really, really important. And now I do realise that for us LGBT folk, accessing support, especially around addiction, can be troublesome. I made a video on this quite a while back. It's an old one, but I will link it. I should probably update that, but I do realise it can be quite difficult. However, I would say if you try a support group and you're not finding it helpful, tell them and then try something else. A lot of people hear that I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, and a lot of people I speak to have had problems, especially trans folk. They're a bit concerned about going and being misgendered and misunderstood and all of that. And I want to honestly say from my experience, I've always been really accepted. When I began my recovery, I was still identifying as female and I was a lesbian at the time, and I was accepted in AA without any problem. And then I came out as trans in a room and was accepted, no issues whatsoever. And then when I moved to Devon, initially I tried the whole non-disclosing experiment and didn't come out in the rooms at all until a few months in, and then I decided I needed to talk about myself more openly than I was. So I came out as trans there in Devon, and I still had no problem with being accepted. To be honest, if people are working their program properly, then they're not going to have an issue with you. Nobody's going to have an issue with who you are attracted to or what your identity is if they're working their program. So the issue is often with people being still unwell than actually the support place itself. So if you do have issues, try another meeting, try another support group. Just keep trying, because trying to do this on our own in early days, I've seen people who've just about managed it, and I don't know how they've done it, because I couldn't. In early days, suddenly without the drink or drugs and all my emotions were there, I didn't know what to do with myself. My days were suddenly so long because I wasn't in oblivion with drink and drugs. So I was going to 2-3 meetings a day sometimes when it was really bad. And without that support, I don't think I'd have got to where I've got now. So please, I want to stress to people, there is so much support groups out there. Don't be put off. Try one that works for you. AA worked for me. I got over the whole idea about it being a religious program. It isn't anyway. It's a spiritual program, yes, but it's about believing in a higher power, the universe, whatever works for you. So don't be put off. Try these things for yourself and make your own mind up. And that other thing that mainly helped as well in the early days was definitely the one day at a time approach. That's how AA works, and I'm so glad I learnt this. I mean, I've read self-help books over the years on the power of now. Eckhart Tolle, I really recommend that book, teaching you how to live in the very moment. And of course, when I was in active addiction, I don't think I could really take that on board. But then when I started with AA and I learned this concept of one day at a time, oh my God, the revelation. Because really, when you're struggling, the idea of trying to struggle for a huge amount of time is awful. But if you know you've only just got to manage half an hour, one day at a time, it's so much easier to manage. And then I could cope knowing that, say I woke up in the morning and I was really struggling, knowing that I could get to a meeting in the afternoon or in the evening, meant that I could just work on those hours throughout the day just to keep myself calm, focused, knowing that I've got a meeting coming up. And again, this is where support comes in, because when you go to support groups, you can get people's telephone numbers, and then when you are struggling, you can give people a ring, and people get it. People have been there, they understand, they can give you support, they can give you advice, what worked for them, and just give you reassurance that you can do this. So for me, getting through those early days was definitely those two main things: finding a support group that works and living one day at a time, so that you're not thinking, oh, I've got to stop drinking or whatever forever. It's just for today. If I can get through today, it'll be okay. And gradually, those one days at a time add up, and you look back and you go, oh my goodness, how have I got 3 weeks under my belt without a drink or a drug? Trust me, it works. And now my two main ways that I coped with the cravings in early days was also to get to meetings, get to support groups, because in those places I felt safe, and also the support helped me to manage the cravings, and also knowing that it was only one day at a time helped me to manage the cravings. But also additionally, developing new habits was really vital as well. And I used my addictive nature to my advantage, because my addictive nature means I actually do develop habits quite easily. But as an addict, I can be drawn to the instant gratification, so I had to learn to develop habits that kind of gave a more long-term gratification. So initially, I just started with simple stuff, like I picked up some books, because having been drunk for God knows how long, I hadn't read anything. So I went and joined the library, and I got out every single book you can ever imagine and just obsessively started reading. But it filled my time, it helped. And I also did the same thing with the gym. I joined the gym and I started lifting weights and using the treadmill. And although initially it didn't give me that instant gratification, over time I started to feel much healthier. So this helped with the cravings, knowing that I could pick up a book or I could go to the gym to deal with that craving and with coping for a chunk of time before the craving passed. That really helped as well. When you start building healthy habits, what also happens is that you start to build a really healthy life. And in early days, someone said to me, if you want to stay clean and sober, you need to build a life that you don't want to lose. Best advice ever. And that's what I did. I started to fill my days with healthier things. I started new habits like the gym and reading. That's also when I decided to join the Open University and start studying. And these helped with my cravings in giving me something to do, but it also helped my self-esteem and meant I was building a really healthy, happy life, which meant when a craving hits, I didn't want to just give into it and drink, because I was starting to see my life become healthy and full and happy and full of promise and hope, and that actually helped to keep me sober as well. One other thing I'd like to mention as well about early days, and this is a really tough one to take on board, but it's really vital. When we are in active addiction, often we have a group of friends that are also in active addiction. I chose people that drank like me. I chose people that took drugs like me. And so when I got clean and sober, I had to cut ties, because you cannot hang out with people who are using when you're trying to stay sober and clean. It's too much of a temptation. Now, it sounds harsh to move away from friends, but you have to. You have to start hanging out with people who are healthy, who are living the lifestyle you want. So finding people you can hang out with who are clean and sober. Another reason that support groups are great, because you can find friends that are doing the same thing as you are, trying to make changes to your life while still living alongside people who are using, drinking, whatever, isn't going to work. It's a difficult thing to do, but it has to be done. And that's what I did. So those are just a few things. So early days, I would say, get yourself some support, whether it's by your doctor, a counsellor, a support group, online, face-to-face. Approach it one day at a time. Don't think I'm stopping this forever. Think I'm just stopping for today. Start building yourself some new healthy habits. Whatever it is you want to do, pick up some study, pick up some books, go to the gym. Start building that life you really, really want with these habits. A really beautiful, healthy life that means that you don't want to pick up and lose it. And also your friends. Move away from the ones that aren't supportive. Move towards the ones that are living the same lifestyle that you want for yourself. I really hope that helps. I've also written a blog recently about how to start on any change journey, which might be a helpful addition to this, and I will put a link up to that as well. Thank you so much for those questions, Alf. They were fantastic, and I know you asked lots of other stuff, but there was so many good questions you asked that I'm actually going to save those for later videos, so do stay tuned for those. I really hope that you found that helpful. If you do have any comments or questions, please do leave me a message in the section below. I'm always really happy to chat. Thanks for watching, folks. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and do feel free to share it any way you think might be helpful. If you're new around here, I'd love it if you subscribe and join our Fin Fam. Don't forget to tick the bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload anything new. Take care of yourself, folks. See you again.